Hello, welcome to another reading. Today's reading is going to be all about what is holding you back. It's basically going to be a shadow reading. It's basically going to be a shadow reading because a lot of the times we don't really recognize the things that are kind of affecting us in a negative way. Not that shadows are inherently negative, they're not. But a lot of the times they carry fear of like the unknown or things from your past, etc. But it does differ from the ego. So we do have Hecate and Aphrodite here as well as my guides. I also called upon your guides. So whoever's watching this, this is for you. There's no pile to choose from. It's just going to be a collective reading today. And that being said, since it is a collective reading, not every single thing that we talk about is going to be for you. So you're going to have to kind of use your discernment, use your intuition to kind of recognize if like every message is for you. Maybe all the messages are going to be for you. Maybe only one part is going to be for you. So we kind of have to see. I'm using a new deck today called the Unveiled Tarot. I'm really excited to use this. So let's get into it. So, oh, sorry y'all. So what is my collective, what is holding them back? I'm not going to take reversals today. Let me just move this up. Okay, so we have the Three of Swords and the Six of Swords. Let me show you the cards because they are very interesting. All right, so, you know, he has a martini glass and inside the glass is the Three of Swords regular tarot card with the Three Swords going through the heart. So maybe you are trying to cover up some pain with some kind of addiction. It could be drinking, like it could be alcohol. It could be like weed or something, or maybe something stronger. It could also just be like even you like just aimlessly scrolling on social media or something that makes you very detached from your feelings, from your thoughts. Okay, it's like you're kind of trying to numb yourself so that you don't have to deal with feeling whatever, and like it makes you feel like you're in control. With the Six of Swords here, it makes you feel like you're in control, but realistically you're just running. Like you just don't want to deal with this pain in some kind of way, so you're just like, I'm just going to keep doing this, and I'm going to tell myself that I'm only doing it because I just want to have fun and I want to hang out and I want to do whatever. I just want to do this thing, and it doesn't really mean anything, but deep down it's actually just you trying to get away from this pain. What else is holding you back? Let's get more information. Thank you. Okay, so we got the King of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Two of Swords. So the King of Wands, it looks like he's putting on a concert maybe, or he's just talking to, it does look like a stadium to me, so I'm thinking of like a concert, but it just looks like he's talking to a lot of people. And maybe that is representative representing like you kind of convincing yourself and others that like you're totally fine and everything is great and there's really nothing to worry about. But like meanwhile, you're kind of just trying to cover up the fact that like this is actually how you feel and that you are kind of like drowning in, because everybody is also like raising their hand at him, like like they admire him so much they want to be him. So maybe you kind of have a tendency to like make everything seem better than it is. That's like another way that you that's like another way that you cope. And the reason why it's holding you back is because you're not actually addressing the problem. It's like you don't want to come off as you have issues or something, or like there's something wrong. You never want to come off as that to other people. And you want people to admire you. You want people to think like, oh my God, they're so amazing. Everything is going great in their life, you know, and like things like that. You want people to kind of envy you in a way. People love celebrities. You know, that's just like what I'm thinking of. Like people love celebrities. And a lot of the times people will defend celebrities. They want to be them because they're so famous and they have big fortunes and yada yada. But like we don't know what that life is actually like. You know, it could be terrible. And based on the cards, like it's kind of just a mask for you. And it's just holding you back because instead of you just addressing it, and you don't have to address it with everyone that you know, but sometimes it's nice to just confide in like people that you're really close to, even if it's just one person. Like that really might help you like address whatever this pain is instead of you just running from it. We also have the Knight of Swords and the Two of Swords. I want to talk about the Two of Swords first. I mean, it looks like she's playing chess, and there's a lot of people behind her. It's like she's in a chess like tournament or something, or a competition. And they look kind of angry, you know, but she's like pondering her next move. But deep down, she's like very confused. Like she doesn't know what to do, you know, and chess is all about um looking at where you are and then figuring out, okay, if I move here, what is their next possible move? You know, like you have to think about not just what you're about to do, but also what's going to happen after that. And maybe you're not very good at that. Like maybe you're the kind of person that you kind of just jump into things and you don't necessarily think about the consequences. Or maybe you think too hard about the consequences. And so then you don't really choose. Or like choosing for you is like very, very difficult. And you spend a lot of time trying to figure out your next move. But I think that you only spend a lot of time trying to figure out your next move because you're too busy trying to uphold this like um I want to say vision, but that's not the word that I'm looking for. You're trying to uphold this image to other people. So that's maybe why you're always confused about like where to go next or what to do next, because you're just like, okay, I need to run from this thing, from this pain in whatever way that I can. But I also need to make sure that people don't even know that I'm running from this pain. And I need to make sure that people think that I'm living my best life. And I also need to make sure that I'm not going to get exposed. Like, it's just like a lot happening. And with the Knight of Swords, it's like you're always trying to plan. He's running, he's on his horse, but he looks like he's in the army or something. He literally has a gas mask on. I don't know if you can see, sorry. He literally has a gas mask on. Gas mask, right? I think I said that wrong, but whatever. So it's like, once again, trying to be noble, trying to uphold this image, but realistically, you know that you're in some deep shit. Interesting. Let's put the tarot cards aside for a minute. And I want to pull some energy cards of mine. We'll do it. Let's just pull some energy cards just to get a little deeper. So maybe we can have like a better idea of what it is you're even running from. We have Angel of Love and Man holding a coin. So you're probably running from something that has to do with relationships, something that has to do with your heart, which makes sense with the Three of Swords, or something that has to do with money, with career. It could also just have to do with a man, particularly. Something that has to do with like financial stability. It could be both as well. Maybe you try to uphold having a lot of money, having a lot of love, but realistically, that's like you feel the complete opposite. Because you can have a lot of people around you, but like not actually feel love. I'm thinking of like the Great Gatsby. Like he had a lot of money. Everybody was always coming to his parties, whatever. But then at the end of the day, he had no one. Like everybody would leave after the parties and like that was it. And then he was trying to get with Daisy or whatever. And she left him, didn't she? I don't know. I didn't really like that book. So I don't know if I'm remembering that right. But I'm pretty sure they don't get together. So it's kind of just like the whole point was that he was just always alone, even though he always had these elaborate parties, even though he always had all these people around him cheering for him. And they were like, oh my God, you're amazing. I love you, blah, blah, blah. But realistically, they were just there for the party. They were just there for the free drinks and the hangout. And you get to meet all these fancy people and you get to be in this huge house and whatever. You know, everything was for show. And once again, I feel like that is like a theme here. So, like, what are you doing? Like realistically, like what are you doing that is kind of trying to make yourself seem different than what you actually are? Are you trying to pretend like you have a lot of money when like realistically you're struggling? Are you trying to pretend like you have a lot of good relationships with people and um maybe you like date a lot and then you kind of like kick people to the curb very often because like you don't want to deal with like actually like liking someone. But then on the outside, it's like, oh my God, they always get so many people. You know, they're always with somebody. Like, I wish I was them because they're always in a relationship. But like, realistically, you're like, it's lonely out here, you know? And it's holding you back because then it's like you're not finding a genuine connection. You're not finding actual stability because you're not really finding things that actually feel fulfilling to you. Okay, let's get some more. I do have a money deck that I also just bought. So because Man Holding a Coin came out, I'm definitely gonna pull some of those cards. I wasn't sure what was gonna come out. So, but since that came out, I am gonna oh my God. Loneliness came out. What were we literally just talking about? Like the Great Gatsby is literally all about loneliness. Like he has all these people around him, all these people think that he's so amazing and he probably gets all these women and blah blah blah, but the one person that he wanted didn't want him. And so realistically, he was the most alone person at all those parties, all those people that he had in his house all the time, like every week or however many days. I don't remember how like often he was throwing those parties and stuff, but like at the end of the day, he felt lonely. And normally in this deck, like loneliness is like, I know that I'm never alone, but with what we're reading right now, like it goes more with you feel lonely. And if you don't feel lonely, like maybe that's not exactly it for you. Maybe it's just like, actually, no, I'm lying. If you're seeing this, then maybe that's how you feel. And if not, then maybe the reading is just not for you. But that's like the main energy, I feel like. Maybe you create your own loneliness because, once again, like you had some kind of past pain. So now you don't want to like fully invest in someone, in a relationship, in friends, whatever, because you just feel like they're going to leave. So you leave before they do. Like maybe your shadow has some kind of like abandonment attachment issue. And so your shadow's kind of like, we need to leave them before they leave us. Always keep people around, because then we can pretend like a lot of people love us and we're not lonely and whatever. But realistically, you don't fully have like true relationships. And maybe you do, maybe you have a few, but maybe it just doesn't feel like enough. Like maybe it's just like not fulfilling enough. Interesting. It's very interesting that that came out like right after we were talking about it, which this is why I love tarot, because I feel like okay, let's get some. This is what lies beneath. So we'll see what else is kind of being hidden from you that's like stopping you from being your best self. Kick to the curb. Yeah, so I feel like you do a lot of kicking people to the curb, or maybe somebody kicked you to the curb before, and now you're like, oh my God, I never want to deal with that again. Like I invested so much time and energy into whoever, and they kind of just like discarded me like it was nothing. And that is a terrible, terrible thing. And if that has happened to you, I am truly sorry. um and I think that like, because remember, Aphrodite and like Hecate are here as well. And it is important that like, even though some people like have done that to you or like could do that to you, does not mean that everybody is going to do that. you know like, we at some point we have to decide if we're going to heal ourselves or not, because otherwise you're just going to go through your entire life feeling this like emptiness, this loneliness, and you're just never going to let anybody in again. That's like, we're very humans, like are very social. We're just like a very social species. We're like those school of fish, like we thrive with other connections. It makes you feel more whole and connected to the species in general. So just like pushing everyone away because somebody pushed you away is not necessarily the answer. Maybe you need to talk to this person. Like if it was like recent, I guess, or even if it wasn't recent. Like if that's something that you feel like might help you like move on in a way that's like you don't have to necessarily, I don't know, what's the saying? Like, forgive and forget. Maybe you don't want to forgive. Like, maybe you don't want to forgive. But just because you don't want to forgive doesn't mean that, like, you shouldn't accept it, you know? I don't necessarily know if forgiving automatically means that you're going to accept something. I think that they're different personally. And if you feel that way, then maybe you should just try to work on accepting that that happened, but knowing, like, okay, yeah, I don't want that to ever happen again. But also, maybe you can work on just like seeing the signs or something like that. So let's say you were in a situation where you were in love, right? And like there were some, maybe like your friends even were like telling you like, hey, I feel like they're kind of a red flag, they keep doing this and this, and it's hurting you, and like you didn't want to listen because you were like, no, they love me, so it's fine. Like maybe it was kind of like a toxic relationship situation, and then eventually like they left, right? Or like, I don't know, they cheated on you or something. And I'm sorry if this is like triggering, but it's a shadow reading, so we have to dig into it. Like next time, maybe it's like, okay, instead of completely not talking to anyone ever again, maybe next time, like, pay a little bit more attention to like what people are telling you. If a lot of people are telling you the same thing, they're probably right, especially if they're looking out, especially if they're looking in from the outside. You know, it's very different when you are the one that is in love with the person, or that is very interested in the person, because you're going to always try to see the better side of them. But if a lot of like your genuine friends and family that you've like known for a long time, and like they really know you, and like y'all have a good relationship as well, like don't take advice obviously from people that like you're not really friends with, but let's say it's like people that you're really close to and like you trust them and whatever, if they're all saying the same thing, like maybe you should like just take a step back from the relationship and assess it, you know, or address the problem with the person. Like there's other things that you can do besides just like completely running away that can help you not experience what you experienced before. You know, before you didn't know, but now you've experienced it. So now what are you going to do with those lessons? You know, the King of Wands becomes the King of Wands because he takes all the lessons that he's learned throughout his experience and he uses them to push forward. So if things don't work out in some kind of way, he knows, okay, this failed. How can I better it next time? What's a different direction that I can go in? You know, like that is how he becomes the king. So think about that for you. Like if that was your particular situation. Now, obviously, this could be anything. Like I said, it's a collective reading. So just the message is the same. Maybe not the exact situation that I'm describing, but it's the message that counts. So, like looking back at whatever thing you keep trying to run from, whether it is relationships or like career wise, you know, did you have a terrible boss and you let them like treat you terribly and like not give you a raise or something? And then it ended up going up in flames and whatever the heck. Maybe you got fired, maybe you quit, and then like you were in a rut for a while because you kind of just quit because of like high emotions, and then you ended up in a terrible situation. When I was younger, I used to work at a place and it was absolutely horrible, and I quit because I just literally like one day I just could not take it and I quit. The guy didn't even care. He literally was like, okay, like that was it. And then they didn't even give me my 2 weeks. I told them like I want my 2 weeks, and they were like no. And then I was broke. I mean, this was like literally back in high school, so it didn't really matter. But like I was broke for a little bit, and I was like, oh my god. And after that, I made sure to never just like quit without having something else lined up. And it was unfortunately just a lesson that I had to experience to learn. And now I know, you know. Now I know. But it's just like I think that that would really help you move forward if you allow yourself to be exposed to the thing that hurt you, that you keep running from, but just expose yourself in a different way. You are smart. You are a beautiful soul. I can tell. It's just, and like you need to give yourself more credit, you know? Give yourself the credit that like you didn't know before. You never know when somebody's going to do you dirty. But I do think that there are signs that we could see about a lot of situations. And we have to just take what people give you, you know? If they're showing you, or the situation is showing you that this is not the best situation for yourself, what can you do about it in the moment without you having to go through a terrible like tower moment or something? Almost done. I'm just going to put one more of these and then we'll do the money. Okay, we got two. We have fake friends and burning evidence. I mean, fake friends make sense with like the angel of love here because we were talking about relationships. It doesn't have to be just romantic relationships, you know? Maybe you were like really close with people and then you found out that they were not true to you. And that is terrible. Friendship breakups suck, especially if you find out that they're like talking behind your back or something like that, you know? But the same thing applies, okay? Like if you hang out with someone and you don't feel your best when you hang out with them, maybe just stop hanging out with them. You don't have to have a falling out for you to be like, okay, I have to stop hanging out with them. No, you could just be like, you know what? You don't make me feel good. I don't make you feel good. Like, this is not what a friendship should be. So I'm not going to hang out with you anymore. That's it. You don't even have to give an explanation. You can just stop talking to them. I mean, maybe that's a little toxic. Sorry. But I don't think it really depends on the situation, obviously. Um, but yeah, do what feels right, obviously. Um, and then we have burning evidence, which is interesting. I don't know, maybe like you never got the full evidence. You kind of just had like an inkling about something, and maybe that's why it feels like so bad, because you're just like, ugh, I never fully had like proof, I guess. Maybe for some of you, it might not be all of you, but okay. And let's just pull the money to see what's going on with like maybe why you're being held back. Oh, sorry. Um, monetarily. What's holding you back with money? Ooh, thank you. All right. We have focus. It's difficult to be productive when your energy is scattered in so many directions. And then we have believe. When you wholeheartedly embrace the attainability of your dreams, you will find the courage to exceed the ordinary. Here, let's put these in the middle. Okay. I mean, wow, these are actually really, these are very, what's it called? Which is nice. Like specific. So I feel like they kind of speak for themselves. Your energy is obviously scattered. I feel like it's scattered because you keep running and then you keep starting something new. Maybe you keep running from jobs. Like I said before, if you had a bad boss or something, maybe like immediately if something goes wrong at work, you're like, I have to leave. And it's like, you're never going to create that stability for yourself if you don't like stay in a job. You know, obviously, you don't stay in a job if it's super horrible, but you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like, are you running for like minuscule things? You cannot always let one person stop you or like make you like leave a job, you know? Even if they're like overbearing. It really depends on who it is. Obviously, if it's like your direct boss or something, but like at the end of the day, you can always like there's other options sometimes. And honestly, sometimes you just need to be a little more intimidating. And then people won't mess with you so much. It's literally like high school, you know? Bullies, my friends, they don't attack people that they think will come at them crazy. You know? If you need to get evidence on them so that you can go to HR because they're really bothering you that badly, do what you need to do, babe. You know what I'm saying? Once again, that's a very specific thing, but regardless, your lack of focus on like one or two main important things in your life is holding you back because your energy is just everywhere, and so you can't fully drive straight. I'm thinking of Ochako from My Hero Academia. Like, she wants to be a rescue hero mostly, but like she ends up going to a work study with like a more fighter hero, and it works out for her. But I remember that Tsukuyomi was like, you shouldn't scatter your energy everywhere because then you're not really going to master, being a rescue hero, and you're not going to master being a fighter hero because your main focus should be rescue. But it worked out for her because I feel like it did really help her. She was able to do both. But she focused on those two things specifically. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's just what I'm thinking of, like that comment that he said. And with believe, like, I feel like you need to just believe that yes, things happened to you before, but believe that you won't let them happen to you again. I think I said that before. Like, that's very important because if you don't trust yourself enough to be like, okay, I experienced this before and it was terrible and I don't want to experience that again. And I'm not going to let myself experience that again because I'm older and I'm wiser and I've dealt with that bullcrap before. And when I see the signs, I'm going to acknowledge those signs this time. I'm not going to ignore them. And maybe you weren't even trying to ignore them the first time. Maybe you just genuinely didn't think that it was a problem. But now you know what is a red flag and what is not. And that's just how life is. You just have to kind of go with the flow, take what you learn, and then keep going, you know? But at the end of the day, you have to believe that you can find stability. You have to believe that you can find love. But if you keep running, you're never going to find it. It's going to continue to just hold you back. It's just going to continue to keep you in this same spot. And so the whole reason why I called Aphrodite into this reading was so that you could learn to love your shadow. If you've ever watched My Happy Marriage, she has like a power or something. I don't know. But basically, she has a dream and it's literally like kind of scary, but it's her. I like to think of it as it was her shadow self. And like she kept saying like, no, you're not good enough to like have a power to do this, blah 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 blah, to marry like the man, whatever. And like she was like, it's okay, like I know that you're sad because our whole lives we've been told that we're not good enough and we've been abused and whatever, but I believe that we are good enough and I'm going to show you that we are. And it kind of like healed that part of her, because instead of being afraid of her shadow, she decided to embrace her shadow. She decided to be like, I kind of think of our shadows as like our children in a way. Like you have to nurture them if you want to move forward. And so I brought Aphrodite into this reading to help bring that nurturing energy, to recognize that once you start to love the things that you are afraid of, then you can stop experiencing the fright. Sorry, I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah. Okay, but that's what I have for y'all. This was a very, I mean, obviously we got a little deep, but I feel like this was a very good reading. If you thought so too, please leave a like, subscribe. I post every week. I've been posting multiple times a week. I also post on TikTok, like shorter readings. If you want to go there, same name, FloralMoonTarot. Um, Leave a comment if you have anything to say. But thanks for being here. I hope you got something out of this reading, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.